Welcome to our deep dive into the world of control and chaos.
Ooh.
We're going to be taking a look at Shaman Jon Rasmussen's essay
Okay.
called Control and Chaos,
Yeah.
which you can find on the Soul Algorithm website.
I've heard of that one.
And,
Yeah.
those forces that kind of battle it out behind the scenes of everything.
Right.
Well, we're going to explore these ideas with kind of a fun pop culture lens.
Okay.
The classic show Get Smart.
Oh, yeah.
Control versus chaos.
Yeah.
And Rasmussen kind of argues that this isn't just a spy agency thing.
Right.
This is kind of woven into the fabric of human history.
Yeah, it's a clever way to frame it.
Yeah.
And it helps to understand one of Rasmussen's most thought-provoking ideas, that key turning point in human history was what he calls the original mistake.
Hold on, the original mistake?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty dramatic.
It does.
What is he talking about?
Well, he's drawing on Yuval Noah Harari's book, Sapiens, and the idea that when humans transitioned from hunter-gatherer societies to settled agricultural ones, it set off a chain reaction that we're still grappling with today.
So like farming.
Yeah.
That was the big mistake.
Well,
But, isn't that how civilization got started?
that's the common narrative, right? But the consequences were much more complex than just building cities and inventing the wheel.
Oh.
Suddenly you have a population explosion, increased demand for resources,
Yeah.
and a need for increasingly complex systems to manage it all.
Okay.
Governments, religions,
Gotcha.
you name it.
Oh,
It's like humanity opened Pandora's box.
Okay.
And now we're struggling to keep the lid on.
So I'm starting to see how this ties into control and chaos.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you need some level of control, like rules systems,
Right.
to manage all this complexity. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
things can get so rigid and structured
Mm-hmm.
that they stifle creativity and freedom,
Sure.
which can lead to chaos.
Exactly. You're getting it. Okay. And this is where Rasmussen's essay gets really fascinating.
Okay.
He argues that ever since this original mistake,
Yeah.
humanity has been trying to walk this tightrope between control and chaos.
Right.
Think of it like a pendulum swinging back and forth throughout history.
So who are the players in this tug of war?
Yeah.
Who are the control freaks and the chaos agents?
Right.
What makes them tick?
Well, it's not that black and white.
Uh-huh.
Rasmussen points out that both sides can have good intentions, but also, not so good ones.
Right.
Those who lean towards control
Yeah.
often genuinely believe that they're creating stability and a better quality of life for everyone.
Yeah.
They want to uphold the existing structures
Right.
and find solutions within the current system.
Yeah.
It's about maintaining order and predictability.
It makes sense. We need rules and laws to function as a society.
Right.
Take a place like Singapore, super strict, but they seem to have a really high quality of life.
Yeah.
Is that what he's talking about?
He actually mentions Singapore specifically.
Does he really?
And he makes a really interesting point about how they chose to establish control.
Okay.
Their founders knew they had two options: instill fear of God or fear of harsh legal penalties.
Interesting.
They went with the legal system.
Wow. That's a powerful example.
Yeah.
So control in this case is based on people following the rules out of fear of punishment,
Right.
not necessarily a moral obligation.
Right.
Okay, but what about the other side of the coin?
Yeah.
The chaos agents, are they just out to watch the world burn?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Rasmussen suggests that those who favor chaos
Yeah.
often see the current system as fundamentally broken and unsustainable.
Mhm.
They might believe that we need a major reset,
Okay.
whether that's a return to a simpler way of life,
Right.
or in some cases even a drastic reduction in population.
So less about burning it all down.
Yeah.
More about believing that things need to be shaken up drastically to create something new. Makes me think of a place like Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of instability and hardship.
Yeah.
Is that chaos gone wrong?
It's certainly a complex situation. And while Rasmussen doesn't endorse any specific side,
Yeah.
he does make it clear that both control and chaos have their pros and cons.
Right.
It's not about judging one as inherently good or bad,
Gotcha.
but understanding the motivations behind them.
This is getting really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like those old Get Smart episodes.
Right.
You never knew who was pulling the strings.
Yeah.
or what their ultimate goal was.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just about good guys and bad guys.
Right.
All sorts of shades of gray.
Yeah.
Sometimes the lines get blurred.
Exactly, and that's a crucial point that Rasmussen makes.
Okay.
Not everyone seeking control is purely altruistic.
Right.
Not everyone pushing for chaos is purely destructive.
Gotcha.
Some might be seeking personal gain,
Yeah.
while others genuinely believe they're acting in the best interests of humanity, or at least their own definition of it.
So it sounds like this whole control versus chaos thing,
Yeah,
way more nuanced than it seems at first glance.
absolutely.
Not just about political systems or global movements.
Yeah.
Probably shows up in our own lives all the time too, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Think about it. How does this dynamic play out in your own life?
Yeah.
In your choices, your relationships, even your daily routine?
All right. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. When we think of chaos,
Uh-huh.
we often associate it with like negative things.
Right.
Like, things being out of control,
Yeah.
unpredictable, even dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But what if there's actually like some value in embracing a little bit of chaos?
That's a really insightful question, and it's something that Rasmussen touches on
Okay.
when he talks about his own personal experiences.
Right.
He actually describes finding immense pleasure in the unpredictable, chaotic nature of the Amazon rainforest. Yeah, he contrasts this with more densely populated, chaotic societies,
Okay.
where his experiences are more negative,
Right.
and suggests that it's not about chaos being good or bad,
Yeah.
but about finding what brings a better quality of life under current circumstances.
So maybe it's not about eliminating chaos altogether,
Right.
but rather learning to navigate it,
Yeah.
to find those pockets where it can actually be beneficial.
Exactly.
And that kind of circles back to Harari's idea of the original mistake.
Yeah.
Perhaps if humanity hadn't shifted towards agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
remained in smaller, more nomadic hunter-gatherer groups,
Right.
our relationship with chaos would be entirely different.
It's a good point.
It makes you wonder if those who advocate for a return to a simpler way of life,
Yeah.
those who see the current system as unsustainable,
Right.
are actually tapping into something primal, something we've lost touch with.
Yeah.
But is it even possible to go back at this point?
Well, Rasmussen doesn't offer a definitive answer, but he acknowledges the tension between those seeking a major reset
Right.
and those who believe in maintaining the current system.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he paints a picture of two forces,
Yeah.
each with their own vision of the future,
Okay.
pulling in opposite directions.
That makes sense that change would be met with resistance, right?
Absolutely.
The idea of like upending everything we know
Yeah.
can be pretty daunting.
Yeah, it's important to remember that Rasmussen isn't taking sides.
Right.
He's more interested in exploring the motivations and consequences
Okay.
of both control and chaos,
Mhm.
encouraging us to think critically about the systems we live in
Yeah.
and the choices we make within them.
So how can we apply this like control versus chaos lens
Right.
to better understand the world around us?
Yeah.
It feels like such a big abstract concept.
Well, he encourages us to look at various movements, organizations, even conspiracy theories
Okay.
through this framework.
Okay.
Take the Freemasons, for example.
Yeah.
Are they a shadowy group seeking to control the world?
Right.
Or are they simply a fraternal organization
Yeah.
with particular values and rituals?
That's such a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Instead of getting caught up in speculation and fear-mongering,
Right.
we can try to understand their underlying motivations
Exactly.
and how they fit into this larger struggle.
It helps us avoid attributing like supernatural or superhuman powers
Right.
to these groups.
Yeah.
As Rasmussen points out, they're often just groups of people,
Okay.
flawed and complex like all of us,
Right.
trying to navigate this messy world and make their mark on it.
It's almost like we're all characters in this grand play
Yeah.
of control and chaos,
Right.
each with our own motivations and desires,
Yeah.
playing our parts on this global stage.
And that brings us back to that final question Rasmussen poses.
Okay.
Where do we fall on this spectrum?
Yeah.
What kind of world do we want to live in?
Right.
What role do we play in shaping that future? This is where the deep dive gets really personal.
Okay.
It challenges us to examine our own beliefs and values,
Yeah.
to consider our own preferences for order or disruption.
Yeah. It's not just about these big societal shifts, though, right?
Right.
It's about the everyday choices that we make. The
Absolutely.
little battles between control and chaos that we face constantly.
Yeah.
Like, how much structure do we need to feel comfortable and secure?
Mm-hmm.
When do we loosen the reins and allow for a little spontaneity?
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance, that sweet spot
Right.
where we can navigate the complexities of the world
Yeah.
while staying true to ourselves and our values.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that both control and chaos have their place,
Mm-hmm.
and that the dance between them is what makes life so dynamic and unpredictable.
You know, this whole conversation reminds me of something my grandmother used to say.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of chaos is good for the soul.
Maybe she was onto something.
Yeah, she might have been right.
After all, without a little chaos, life would be pretty predictable and, dare I say, boring.
Yeah, for sure.
So, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned.
Okay.
We've explored the original mistake,
Right.
the motivations behind control and chaos,
Yeah,
and how this dynamic plays out on both a global and personal scale.
it's pretty amazing.
But before we jump into the final part,
Okay.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
what stands out to you as the most important takeaway from Rasmussen's essay?
Yeah, for me, it's that idea of the dance between control and chaos.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about picking a side.
Right.
It's about finding a rhythm
Yeah.
that works for you,
Uh-huh.
personally and in terms of the bigger picture.
And you know that rhythm might change over time.
Yeah.
What feels right for you at one stage of life might not feel right later on.
Right.
It's a constant evolution.
Totally. And it's not just about finding a balance for ourselves.
Right.
It's about recognizing that everyone has their own rhythm,
Yeah.
their own comfort level with control and chaos.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Trying to force our rhythm onto others
Right.
can lead to all sorts of problems. It's like
Right.
trying to make everyone dance to the same beat.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
This whole deep dive has been like a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
Shaman Jon Rasmussen's essay
Uh-huh.
challenges us to think differently about how we view the world,
Mm-hmm.
the systems we live in,
Right.
even our own motivations.
It really does.
It's like he's handed us a new set of lenses through which to see things.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
No simple solution to
Yeah.
this age-old struggle between control and chaos.
Right.
But by understanding the nuances of the stance,
Yeah.
we can become more conscious participants in shaping the world around us.
And maybe that's the key takeaway here.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Awareness.
By being more aware of the interplay between control and chaos
Mm-hmm.
in our lives and in the world, we can make more informed choices about how we want to navigate this dance.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that both forces are always at play,
Mm-hmm.
and that by understanding them,
Yeah.
we can find that sweet spot
Right.
where we feel empowered, fulfilled, and connected to something bigger than ourselves.
This has been such a fascinating exploration.
It has.
Huge thank you to Shaman Jon Rasmussen for providing such thought-provoking material.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to delve deeper into these ideas,
Yeah.
be sure to check out his full essay, Control and Chaos, on the Soul Algorithm website.
It's definitely worth a read.
It is. And for all you deep divers out there,
Yes.
keep questioning,
Keep exploring.
keep exploring, and keep dancing to the beat of your own drum.
Absolutely.
Until next time.